Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric. On today's show, I'm going to do a test review on these ribeye steaks that are just fine from the local Dollar Tree store. I asked my neighbor about them, and he says, I haven't been there in a decade. I'm like, what? I asked my buddies at work, and they're like, dude, we don't get our food from there. I'm like, no way. Really? Yeah. No, I go there and I think they're just awesome. What's funny is these things are $1 each. They're perfect for sandwiches. You can put them on stir fry. You can put them in cup of noodles, anything. And the thing is, they're just so beautiful here. Get this down in here, see it? They're just so beautiful that, they took care of everything for you. They put 30% solution in there to make sure that they don't dry out on you. They put this enzyme in there that eats up all the meat for you, so you don't have to. So it's tender. Not that I ever knew ribeyes needed to be tenderized, but they think so, and it's best for them to do the thinking for us, right? So for $1, I get plenty of meat. It tastes great. It's nice and tender. It's not too gross looking. I think it's a win-win deal, and I think you should go there and buy some too. But first, let's do a test and review and just make sure that everything's on the level, right? So join me as I test out cooking these fine ribeyes from the local Dollar Tree store. Oh wait, am I cheating here? I left one minor detail out. I'm actually going to test these fine ribeye steaks against something that might be finer. At least these ones haven't been processed. There's no salt, there's no chemicals, nothing. These are just straight up thin sliced ribeyes. The only difference is these are about $6.99 a pound, and those ones are like $5 and change depending upon what kind of meat you get out of them, right? Because after all, I said 1/3 of the weight is salt water, which surely is going to cook out. So you're only getting maybe 2 ounces instead of 3.5 ounces. So what we're going to do is we're going to weigh these things in before we cook them, and weigh them afterwards just to see how they cook up. Of course, we're going to test for taste and texture and all that good stuff. But surely Dollar Tree wouldn't lie and give us garbage and charge us some horrible rate and make it look like it's a great deal because it's only $1, right? Would they? Maybe. But we'll find out shortly. All right, first up is our contender. From Fresh World, we are going to put on 6 pieces of meat. Got a couple of minor breakages here. So let's go ahead and get that on there. And we do that, put this guy here. And we are very close to a pound here. We're at like 15.5 ounces. So let's get that on our scorecard. 15.50 Z. And that comes out to, 435 grams. And now we're going to have the champ, right? So from Dollar Tree, we got these 6 pieces. Well, one is broke, but that's the beautiful thing about having frozen meat. It just breaks, right? It doesn't tear and shred on you. The one thing I'm thinking is they want you to keep these things frozen, not because they're worried about rotting. Well, yeah, they are, but because it makes a perfect saltwater ice cube that they can then cheat you out of money on, right? Because after all, saltwater ice cube doesn't cost us $6.99 a pound, does it? No. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this going here. And we're going to top him off up there. All right. So these 6 pieces here, while they're not as pretty looking, they're kind of a brownish, purple, dark color. And I know what you're going to say if you're a meat person. Well, it needs to be exposed to the air because those ones are. And they're so pink. And once you put them in a airtight environment, the oxygen, and the hemoglobin and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd expect this stuff. But the difference is this stuff is fresh through the next week. literally, I think 4 days from now, 5 days from now. This stuff expired 6 months ago. Yes, it has a best by date back in March and April. So that's a little, But if they taste good, who cares, right? And they're only $1, right? So we're gonna put that down. So these guys are 705 grams. This is 1 LB 8.5 OZ. So the test is going to be how much fat do we lose when we're cooking, and I'm going to cook mine medium rare, versus how much liquid oozes out and all the good stuff. So that's part of the why I'm doing this little weigh test. So this stuff is already at a disadvantage. It's only weighs around 1 pound. This stuff weighs 1.5 pounds. So this already weighs a lot more, but we'll see if that changes, right? So he's more expensive and you get less meat, which makes it perfect for this, right? So first up, we're gonna grill these outside over some charcoal. All right, so the first test here is we're gonna throw these bad boys on the grill here, which I've already got preheated. So let's go ahead and put the reigning champs on, right? Ooh, hear that sizzle? I'm only going to cook these for a minute or 2 per side as needed. We're going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on here. It's the only seasonings we're going to use, right? Of course, I don't know why I'm putting any salt on the champ because they're already plenty salted, right? So we'll put a little more on the Challenger here. All right, we're going to flip it now. You might see on the champ, got a little bit of liquid building up over here. That's probably the, I don't know, our little ice cube experiment. I didn't really get much of a grill marks. That's too bad. The picture made it look so beautiful. This just looks kind of gray. Let's see what my real meat does. Let's see, this is kind of falling apart here. I got a little bit more of a grill mark on that one. So we'll let that cook up. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull this off now. So let's go ahead. Champ here is falling into some different little pieces here, but he stayed intact. And the Challenger still has a decent amount of fat, which is good for flavor, right? All right, now that we have done our first test, let's go ahead and weigh them before I take my sample. I don't want these things to cool off, probably turn rock hard, right? So first of all, let's go with the champ here. His meat seemed to stay relatively intact. Feels kind of dry, and which is impossible because it had all that liquid in there, right? So he's 135 grams. And that's roughly how many pounds, ounces? 4.5 ounces between the two. Put that on the eating plate. Let's go ahead and get the Challenger up here. He's 2¼ ounces. 70 grams. So he's about half. All right, so we're done with the first part, right? Now let's take a taste test here. So I don't know, this looks pretty good here. So on the Challenger, we got a little bit of grill marks. I don't know, I don't think I really got too much on this one here. And we'll just take a little bite here. Tastes a little dried out. Well, feels like it's dried out. Let's see what happened. Maybe I overcooked it, right? My fault. Got a little flavor. Definitely tastes like beef. Got a little salt. Definitely has the good flavors from the grill, right? So So with the exception, maybe overcooked that guy. Who knows? Taste this one over here. A little more chewier. Tastes good. Now, the champ. No grill marks at all. Looks like he was thinking about getting some, but just didn't quite materialize. So, since this one wants to fall apart so much. So, I can definitely say these the Champion is definitely thicker than what the Challenger is. Juicier, chewy. The flavor is not good at all. And the fat is really horrible. Not sure how to describe it here. The other stuff tastes like beef. And it was a little dried out, and maybe I overcooked or something. He's definitely a thin piece of meat. These are both thin, obviously, but this guy is a little thicker, so he might be a little more tolerant of that. Plus, after all, they injected all this liquid, right? So they make it air-proof. But the flavor is awful. I would say it's really cardboard tasting. Literally. Of course, I joke and I say fast food is always cardboard because it doesn't have flavor. It's just high salt, potentially high fat, and it just doesn't really taste like fresh meat. The Challenger has way better taste. I think I just overcooked it. This stuff here, maybe because it's a little thicker and has injections, is a little more moisture, but the taste is horrible. And the fat, instead of the fat kind of melting in your mouth like normal fat on ribeyes tastes like, stuff is really chewy in a bad way. I don't know what happened. Maybe because it's age. But I'm definitely saying on this method, I do not, and I'm sorry, I do not approve of the Champ. The Challenger wins this battle. Sorry, folks. Because these are both thin cuts of steak, I would say, me being a meat and potatoes guy, that I would easily pair these with tater tots or French fries. And in the case of the Champ tasting so bad, I think I would pair him with some McDonald's French fries because I think he would go that way. Meanwhile, I would pair the Challenger with some fine Walmart tater tots. All right, now we're ready for part two. We're just gonna do old-fashioned frying, right? So this is our Challenger here, looking all nice and pretty, and here's our Champ looking pretty disgusting, but who knows? He might pull out a victory if he tastes good, right? So let's go ahead and get the Champ on first, right? And see. Oh! Why is he splattering so bad? Achtung! Here, let's get a little splatter guard on him. And for the Challenger, let's go ahead and just get him going in there. You see the Challenger behaving a lot better. Could it be because of them, I don't know, salt, water, ice cube meat? Water does not like oil, right? And we just proved it there. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this guy over real quick. He's looking pretty good. Got a little bit of brown on him. A little pepper. A little salt. Get a little flip on him. You can see this moisture he's giving up. He's got obviously a little bit of oil, but that water's looking nasty. Pull him off. These things don't take that long to cook at all. So this is just basically maybe a little bit of juices and a little bit of oil, and that's just, I don't know, disgustingness. But whatever oozed out, I guess I got to eat, right? So we're going to wait for these to commingle their little flavors for a few seconds, and then we're going to do a weigh-in. All right, time for the weigh-in here. So let's go ahead and go with the Champ first. Weighs 125 grams, 120, 125, and we'll get a benefit of 125 G, and that's the equivalent of 4 1/4 ounce. So it's kind of nice to know that these things are like losing like half their weight, right? Okay, let's go get Champ off of there. Let's go ahead and get the Challenger up. Challenger is still noticeably thinner than the Champ. He weighs 3 1/4 ounce, 90 grams. All right, so let's go with the Challenger here. Get a little bit of that fat in there for flavor. Soft, a little chewy, flavorful. Tastes like meat. Just touch on the salty side. Yeah, reconfirm. Good. Let's go with the Champ. Off flavor. Doesn't taste like beef. Calling it cardboard would be a compliment. Champ is not doing too good. So the Champ on that one was not hard at all, and that particular fat piece was actually, I would say, enjoyable had the meat tasted good. Where the first thing where we did grilling, the fat was just horrible. It was like hard, like, I don't know. But here, it has an off flavor and it's just nasty. I don't know what to say. The other piece, the Champ or the Challenger, the real ribeye, right? It tastes like beef. It was good. I would eat that any day. So round 2, I would say, goes to the Challenger. The Champion, of course, lost weight just like the Challenger did, but just because his pieces were thicker and heavier to start with, he still wins the weight category, but he suffered far more losses, possibly from giving up all the liquids, which I'm about to prove a point shortly. So now we're getting ready to go to round 3, right? If I dare. All right, the last part of our challenge is going to be using an air fryer. Air fryer is arguably one of the better ways to cook this cut of meat because it allows it to drain all those nasty juices out of the way, and it doesn't splatter, make a mess. You don't have to go fire up a grill, and obviously the oven takes too long. This is a really good way to actually cook any kind of thin meat, especially the ones that you want to make into like a nice little hoagie sandwich and stuff. Or if you have a panini grill or something, can't recommend anything better. But this is way convenient. Normally you just take these suckers out of the freezer, throw them in there for a couple of minutes, and poof, you're good to go. This guy has been sitting in the fridge for a little bit, so he's completely thawed out, so it won't really take that long. So we're just going to go ahead and throw a couple of these bad boys in here. This is the Champ. We're going to let him go first, right? This is one piece that kind of broke in half earlier. And that's one of the problems with this meat that's been eaten up by these enzymes is you got to be careful in how you handle it. When it's frozen, it's rock hard and it might break in half. When it's thawed and, I don't know, like swamp material, it just rips really easy. So let's go ahead and put them in here. Let's go ahead and turn them on. We're going to hold this in for a few seconds. Turns on, 320. I don't know. Let's get them going higher than that. And time-wise, I don't need it up to 20 minutes. Literally a couple minutes will do it. That's probably good enough. Gives him a little time to warm up, and then he'll be on his way. All right, so 3, 4, 5 minutes wasn't really enough. On this one, it took like 5, 6 minutes. I'm going to pull it out. I already hit it with a thermometer, so it's pretty much where I want it to be. So let's go ahead and pull. So this is the champ, which means I'm expecting it to taste like garbage pretty much, right? So we will confirm that in a minute. Let's go ahead and get the Challenger in here. The Challenger isn't as thick, so it'll probably cook a lot quicker. Plus it's already pre-warmed and stuff. So that's probably good enough. We'll go and wait for the champ to cool down just a little bit. We'll weigh them, and then we'll get to it. All right, you heard that. Ding dong, it's done. So let's pull this bad boy out. Let it rest for a few seconds, and then we'll give it a taste, right? So I noticed that this air fryer is kind of like anything else. You leave it covered up, it won't cook some stuff properly. In other words, if you have two pieces of meat right on top of each other, they need air, they need something. So that might screw up. So you got to space stuff out, just like any other type of cooking. Obviously, if we're braising or deep frying or something, not a big deal. But within these guys, so if something looks like it's not cooking right, you can probe it. I had different temperatures all over the place. Some of the thinner pieces were way high, some of the thicker pieces were way low. But overall, it's where I want it to be. So let's get eating. Yay! All right, let's weigh these guys. So let's go get the champ on here. So 135 grams, 135 air fry, and just 4 3/4. So he actually retained a whole whopping extra half an ounce over the last cooking. So yeehaw. So this is the way to go, right? Air frying. Keep more of your salt water in your meat. All right. Let's go ahead and get the Challenger up here. Get all the pieces up here. Got a whopping 3 ounces, yay. Which is how many grams? Ooh, 80. These are kind of small pieces, I guess. So, ooh, went up to 85, I'll take that. So let's get these totaled up and we'll see what the total cooked weight is, and then we'll know how much shrinkage we got, right? And then we can then more effectively compute the cost per pound for both the raw and the cooked, right? I mean, we only care about when it's raw because that's what everybody sells it to us as. But if you want to know based on how much shrinkage there is, how much waste, then that gives you a better idea. So I'll be back after I figure this all out. All right, I haven't figured out anything yet, but I'm going to eat this anyways, and then I'll go figure it out. So first of all, we're going to go with the champ. Does not look like it's been overcooked. The meat still has juice in it, I think. It's still chewy, soft looking, still gross looking. As predicted, has no flavor. Kind of disgusting. Challenger, thin, has a little bit of juice left in it. Sure, that piece might have been overcooked. Try something in the middle. That's a little better. Flavor is still there. It's basically meat. The other stuff, I don't know what it is. This stuff here, I could put on a sandwich any day and just eat it up, right? So, taste test, I give it to the Challenger. It tastes like beef. I mean, I really don't know what they made this Dollar Tree stuff out of. I joke because there's different grades of beef, right? You know, we always think of prime. Of course, there's also Wagyu and all that stuff, but that's like so expensive, nobody wants to bother eating that, right? But you have prime, which you largely don't see too much of that in the supermarkets. You mostly see choice. You might also see something below that called select. Basically, the lower in grade you go, the more nastier it is, right? Less fat, less, you know, juiciness, flavorness. Below select, you know, I think you get into this like utility garbage, which I think is what they feed, you know, animals, right? Like dog food, cat food, probably. I don't know if I've ever eaten that yet until today. The problem is, you know, when you go into a supermarket, if you see the meat that's in the original cryovac where the meat packer packed it, so if you get a big old ribeye, it's like huge, yeehaw, it might say USDA choice on it, right? And it's got the Department of Agriculture and some stamp on it, and that's good, right? But if it's in any kind of cellophane after that, God only knows what you're getting, because the butcher can do anything they want to it and it no longer counts. So we all just take their word that's USDA choice. But when you go into something like 7-Eleven or into a dollar store, do you think they're going to brag about selling you choice? No, because if it's choice, it ain't going to be $1. It'll be $2 or $3, right? For a little piece. Now this stuff, God only knows what it is. Labels don't matter. I went into this place called Fresh World, and with the exception of the cryovac, which I would trust, anything at the butcher touched, I don't know. Because they didn't bother to label anything. They've got these stickers hanging on the wall called USDA choice. What do you think about Oinky? You think he's USDA choice? He's 20 years old. Whenever we get around to having him slaughtered, he's going to be pretty, I don't know, cardboardy like. So I don't think he's choice. And I don't think the stuff I ate today was choice. But I will say the $6.99 a pound stuff tastes a lot better than the mystery meat. So let me go ahead and figure this up, and we'll see how much this dollar junk really costs per pound. All right, the winner is, ding! They both lost half of their weight. The contender was, you know, $6.99 a pound. You might find it cheaper. I would probably go a thicker ribeye meat to make sandwiches, which is why the Dollar Tree stuff works good, because it's just the right thickness. Unfortunately, it has a horrible taste and it has a bunch of liquid. But if you cook it in the oven fryer, or the air fryer, then, you know, a lot of that water drips out and it's not really a mess. You know, and it comes in about $4 a pound, which is, you know, it's affordable, obviously. What are some choices you can do? Alternates. I would say get lots of alcohol and feed it to your guests and the cook, and then no one will notice how bad the stuff tastes. Otherwise, if you're going to make a sandwich, use plenty of onions, bell peppers, maybe marinate it, and then still drink alcohol, and it might cover up the taste. Otherwise, any fresh ribeye is going to taste 100 times better than that. If you can buy your ribeye in bulk, like I saw some stuff on sale for $4.50 a pound, big old Mondo thing, you can slice it as thick or thin as you want. You can make some big old thick steaks, and then you can cut some thin lunch meat. And it would still come in cheaper, and because that stuff is actually fresh meat, it's going to taste 100 times better. But the choices are up to you. So I hope you liked this video. I had fun making it. I didn't expect this to come anywhere near what it did. And I hope you guys were amused, entertained, and learned something as well. So if you like this video, please give me a comment, subscription, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And visit our website at amylearnstocook.com. And we're on Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook at Amy Learns to Cook. Mate! Meow.